Man, I'm really excited about today's conversation with David Ghiyam.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get this. I've been wanting to have a conversation with this guy since we had this idea of starting this pod or YouTube channel, whatever you call it, because he operates at a much higher level, in my opinion, than most founders.
I'm most excited to talk to him about is understanding like how I'm gonna refer to the brand, but like how did Mary Ruth break through, right?
Yeah.
What makes Mary Ruth that much different? Because there's lots of products that are out of the market that they compete with. Why are they on top? And so I'm really looking forward to kind of understand from David's perspective, like what's the secret sauce?
Awesome, man. I am too. So yeah. And then just so you know, Drew, I'm going to say this live on air. We're going to, next episode, we're going to start a little news aspect. And what I'll do is we're going to just do latest Amazon news. So you and I need to come prepared, man. One of us needs to bring some news, drop it, give people the latest TOS updates, AI updates, whatever. We're going to throw that in.
Yeah, sure. Fair.
That's coming soon.
Yeah.
But until then, just feast your ears on David. He's gonna, if you listen to him, he's definitely going to change the way you think. So without further ado, David Ghiyam. David, welcome aboard. I think this is episode 10. So this is fitting because I've been wanting you on since before episode 1. So to have you on episode 10 just kind of makes a lot of sense for me.
So thank you for having me. This is great. I've always appreciated you. I mean, obviously, like there's requests like this that always come by, but I think we have a history going a ways back, and you've always had this amazing energy, and you've always had the mentality of giving more than taking. I always appreciated that.
Ditto.
So I always want to be part of whatever you're doing.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and Jay and I have worked great together. You have an awesome team as well, and working with your influencer team, and just so you know, like we haven't found a bad person on your team.
Thank you.
Really or anyone below super intelligence. So that's
good. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Mary Ruth, which is the big part of this conversation, right? Is like this amazing brand, because we're talking to Amazon entrepreneurs. And a lot of people, especially supplement people, look at Mary Ruth on this pedestal. It's like the Mount Rushmore now of supplement brands. Let's just quickly do the origin story. Like, where the heck did Mary Ruth start from?
So Mary Ruth is the name of my wife. And we got married about 10 years ago. And my background is I come from the nonprofit world as a public speaker. I've been teaching spirituality throughout the world since I was 15 years old. And I did so with a nonprofit. So I didn't have any ways of making money or income. And when we got married, we were both 29 years old. She didn't have any income either. And there's a lot to the story, but what came about was her passion was in health and wellness. She started a program to help people become healthier. It was very successful, but it was brutal in that it was a one-on-one service business. And when she maxed out, part of her program was that she was teaching people to have a diet around liquids until lunch. So instead of kind of fasting until lunchtime, like a lot of people do, she promoted a liquids to lunch diet. People were getting nauseous sometimes when they had to take supplements that were in capsule form. So wouldn't it be a great idea if you created liquid supplements? And we came up with that idea with no money. We just kind of formulated something, 20 bottles of it, I remember. And we sent it to Amazon. It was 2013 or 14. And it kind of took off from there. So I would say today, Mary Ruth is known for being a liquid supplement brand. I think probably 70% of our revenue comes from our liquid side, the other 30% from our gummy side. But that is what we're passionate about. That's what we're known for.
Amazing. So Mary Ruth is a real person for everybody out there. It's
yeah. Some people think she's not real. That's some character we created, but no, she is very real, and she has the background to support it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and she's really real on social media too. She's got a great social media presence. I know her following is really diehard. The brand's doing well on social media. So, okay, from 20 bottles. I mean, that's kind of almost absurd to think about at this point. But what was your first big break from 20 to what? Where it was like, okay, we're surviving.
Yeah. So I think I love when I know the stats and the numbers, because I think it puts things in context. It was just Mary Ruth, me, and my mother-in-law for the first 5 years until we got to about 20 million in revenue. So the way it grew was, in the first year we did about 500,000, then 2 million, then 5 million, then 10 million, then 20 million, then 80 million, then 130 million, and that was, I think, in 2020. So, and we've been growing ever since. We didn't hire our first employee until we broke 20 million. And part of this just came from a mindset around creating a profitable, sustainable business from day one. So the key was finding a product that was unique and solved the problem. You hear that all the time. That was the liquid format. Expanding it, so seeing how far you could expand it. So we had a liquid morning multivitamin. What else would people buy with that, without breaking the bank and without kind of like overcorrecting? And that was a nighttime supplement and a probiotic. We felt that these three products together, which we call the triad of health, would be something that consumers would be excited about taking, even just trying to get healthy. I think the AOV on that was about $125.
Wow.
We gave like a good subscription discount, especially on our website, to promote buying them all together on subscription. So from day one, we wanted to create that recurring revenue, and that's kind of where it took off. And by the way, we had no experience or background in anything. So my mentality was, I had to learn Canva. I learned that's what I did. I learned graphic design on Canva. We couldn't afford a graphic designer. I poured over YouTube videos. When I want to learn about something, I try to find the 5 or 10 people who are best at it and convince them to go to lunch with me, tell me how they do it. How does it work? What are the lessons you learned? How did you fail? So anything I can do to learn about something, because I think some of the best founders are the ones who know and understand almost every aspect of the company before they delegate and scale it out. So our belief system was create a profitable business from day one. Profit equals free will. We won't have to be beholden to anyone or anything. And that's kind of what we did in the beginning.
Doesn't this sound a little bit too easy, Drew? So because it's not easy, David. There's no way any of this was easy for you, because everyone has their trials and tribulations. So, okay, how did you get the capital to get to that scale? Here's 2 questions. How the hell did you have the capital to go from 20 bottles to year 3, you're doing 10 million or 20 million?
Yeah.
That's question 1. And question 2, what was driving the actual sales? It can't all be Amazon PPC. There must have been something else sparking.
It's an incredible question.
Okay.
So we had no capital. We actually had debt. So Mary Ruth had come from $700,000 of personal debt from the passing of her father and the business crumbling and being tied to her personally. It was a whole thing. So we actually had payments of debt management around $40,000 a month that we had to simultaneously pay. So she was still doing odd jobs on the side to try to pay down those debts. And then for hundreds of dollars, we would buy bottles at a time. So you said something like, we make it sound easy. When I go back those 10 years, even though life was painful and difficult, especially because we were broke, the way the business scaled actually was easy. When I look back, everything kind of worked out and all the doors opened up. And I've thought about this a lot, because if I had to start something new today, at least personally, I believe that obviously there are challenges, but I believe it doesn't have to be as challenging as people think. And I've validated this by talking to other founders who are serial founders. They are successful time and time again, over and over again. What are they doing differently? Like, what is Elon Musk doing differently? That whatever business, whatever he touches, it kind of opens up. And so this is what I've been really passionate about, to kind of study and learn. Because something I try to do every week is talk to 2 to 4 founders a week. I take them for a walk or a lunch or a phone call or Zoom. I say, hey, I want to know What made you successful? What do you do to win? I don't just do it in business. I went on a walk with someone recently who I think he's an incredible father. He's 4 kids. I said, what did you do to be an incredible father? And I learned so many amazing secrets. I learned the wisdom of what he did. So I'm always trying to learn. And what I've learned is that these people who easily become successful is because they have a belief system that it doesn't need to be hard. So there's a lot of limited belief systems we all have that are actually energetically sabotaging our success.
David, I find that fascinating. So, just like really briefly, my background, I did enterprise for 10 years, and then I moved to San Francisco and I did startups. And same thing, like I didn't know anything when I did startups. When I went to San Francisco, anybody I could meet with, I would do it. I didn't care what their title was. I didn't care if they were a founder. I didn't care if they were lowest person on the totem pole. If they seemed smart and articulate, I met with them. And I learned a ton by doing that. I also, at the same time, learned that I had all these limiting beliefs. And, you're saying like, this like, I'm not sure I can do it kind of mindset. Mine were even more granular. There were things like, I don't have time. I don't have capital. I have impersonations, imposter syndrome. Right. And I'm not capable of doing these things. And
Beautiful.
And it's like, they're not real. Everybody has all those problems.
What you just said is you named off what every kind of person comes with a different blockage from birth, from past life, whatever. And they reinforce those blockages. And as a result, the universe listens to them. And so the gates and the doors don't open. If it's, I need to suffer to be successful, that's a big one. So you'll never be successful easily. Now, there are people who are successful easily without suffering, but you believe you have to suffer. Another one is, I saw what happens to the lives of rich people. I don't want to be rich. That's another one. A third one was, I was talking to a woman who owns a company with a certain amount of employees. And I said, well, what does it look like to triple the revenue of your company? And she started to panic because she said, tripling the revenue means I'm going to have 3 times as many employees. And I'm already so stressed out and I have no time for myself. So her belief system is to grow means actually more stress from employees. So subconsciously, she doesn't desire to grow. Subconsciously, she hopes people quit. Subconsciously, she hopes she doesn't even get new clients because then she'll have to hire more people. So what happens is, and we're not realizing this, but we all have this ceiling that we hit because inside of ourselves, we have these limited belief systems. I knew early on, Mary Ruth and I we had one desire. We wanted freedom. I think that was the main intention. Like, how do we achieve financial freedom? How do we help people? How do we add value where we can feel good about ourselves and we don't feel like we're taking something from society? And the freedom component of it's really big because the way I do it is, as soon as my schedule gets full, I try to see what I normally do in 8 hours. How can I do it in 1 hour? So every month I look at what I'm doing in 8 hours and I say, how can it be done in 1 hour? And what happens is I'm constantly trying to delegate certain tasks and certain work so that I keep freeing myself up, because my belief system is I want to be free. But there are some people whose belief system is I need to control everything. So they hold on to stuff. And those, I see a lot of founders, they grow to like 3 million, 5 million, and then they get stuck. They're not stuck because of the economy. They're not stuck because they have a bad product necessarily or anything else. They're stuck because they've reached their max capacity as a founder. And now we're brushing up against some of their limited beliefs that they have to work through to break through. I remember when we were at 20 million, I was thinking, I'm sorry, less. We were at maybe around 10 million and I wanted to sell the company. And Mary Ruth asked me, why do you want to sell the company? I said, I don't think there's any more room to grow. I see the landscape. Amazon's difficult. And she's like, I don't care what you see. We're going to go forward with certainty beyond logic. So she had to replace my limited belief system with her belief system. And had I not heard what she had to say, we would have sold the company for pennies on the dollar of what it is today. So we just have to acknowledge that whatever our limited beliefs are, it's going to trickle down to our employees. Those are also going to be the employees you attract. You're going to attract employees who have limited beliefs, and you're going to attract customers who have limited beliefs. And then it's just a vicious cycle. You know, why do people pay hundreds of millions of dollars for great CEOs? I just saw this, like, Forbes top 10 paid CEOs. Everyone gets paid over $100 million. Why would you pay someone? I think the top one got like 400 million. Why would you pay one person $400 million? What are you paying him for? He's not even working as hard as the hundreds of thousands of people under him. But why is it worth it? It's worth it because what you're paying for is consciousness. You're paying for the consciousness of the leader. That trickles down to hundreds of thousands of employees, which then trickles down into shareholders and customers, and that vibration goes through the whole world. And that's why you pay him or her.
You're referring to his belief system. So if he's
his belief system,
if he's like, we can go from 6 billion to 10, and he's pushing that down.
He's pushing that down. Exactly.
Yeah.
He beautifully said. It's a trickle down effect of energy in consciousness.
Yeah.
I look for this in directors and vice presidents. I start to challenge them about certain goals. And once I see them start saying it's not possible, or it can only be done if I hire out a team, like, everyone's got a belief system about how things have to be done. Right away, if I identify that and they're not willing to change it, they have to be let go. They have to be let go. Otherwise, it will be a cancer. It will be a virus inside the company that will limit the blood flow and energy flow to the other departments or the other organs of the body.
Wow.
So I love when you say that you speak to Jay and the team, because I'm always talking to Jay. I'm like, Jay, where is the limitation? Where is the blockage in energy? Where are you having to explain things more than 6 times to someone?
Yep.
Right? And you got to really be on top of it. You got to unblock that artery. Otherwise, you cannot flow in the right direction. You talked about Brian Kelsey. Honestly, one of my most favorite people. The guy is so sharp. He gets it. He's an incredible CEO. And, you know, what you said about what he said is how quick you need to be. I'm not scared of the Nestle's of the world or the Procters and Gambles of the world, or huge, amazing, beautiful companies. I'm scared about the Brian Kelseys of the world, who are in their garage, who know how to execute and come to market quickly and scale rapidly, because they don't have any limited belief system about product development or systems or hiring, right? They're ruthless in their efficiency. Those are the people that are upending markets and toppling, people like me. You're either a jet ski or you're a cruise ship. And I never want to be a cruise ship.
So what are the ways to keep yourself the jet ski, other than the mindset, practical stuff? Like, what do you guys do to make sure you're on it all the time?
Practical things I do. At least once a week, I try to call every vice president. We have 9 of them. And I ask them questions like, what's keeping you up at night? Where are you limited? What are the departments slowing you down? If you could have any resource, what would it be? I have the names of every single person in our company, and I go over each name. I said, tell me about this person. What are they doing right? What could they do better? Are they exactly what you need? Are you holding on to them because you're afraid? And I ask these questions because people do not volunteer these questions. Your employees will not volunteer what's blocking them, hurting them, or scaring them. You have to ask. So I will take the time. My job is to be the chief unblocker. I have to go see, where are things not moving? Where is the energy not flowing? And I start with the vice presidents. I sometimes will call the directors. I sometimes will call the managers, just to get different perspectives on what's going on. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I will go through the P&L and look at every cost, everything flowing in and out, and I will study it. I will pray on it. I will meditate on it. I will look for inconsistencies. I will look for trends. I will ask myself, this $300 a month charge, if it doesn't need to be there, we need to let it go, because it's a virus. Who cares that it's $300? It's a virus. And viruses spread. Cancers grow. So you got to look for where the waste is all the time. I try to do that cleaning every month of where is their waste in every department. So that's the second thing.
Amazing. I'm learning a lot. Let me write a little note on
I would
one
say a
thing.
third thing is a lot of people, there's a lot of talking that happens about great ideas. One of the, besides the being like a chief unblocker, one of the things I think, there's a lot of things I'm really not good at. Like, I'm not good at being a CEO. I'm not good at being like a manager of a lot of people. It's not my strength. What I will do is I will take sometimes weeks or months off and just go down a rabbit hole of finding a new strategy or a new product that I know can double revenue. I will look for it. I will pray for it. I will walk the streets and I will pray out to the universe and say, show me this product, show me this idea, show me this strategy. I will talk to random people everywhere and I will say, do you have a message for me? Do you have a strategy for me? I will go to masterminds. I will listen. I will just kind of connect myself with high vibration people until that strategy comes to me. And then I will show up and it's kind of like a hurricane and my team just gets discombobulated, but that's okay. I say, we're going to enforce this and we have to manifest it in the next 3 weeks. Something that probably should take a year. I said, we're going to find a way to do it in 3 weeks because the windows and the gates are open and we need to mobilize ourselves to execute this because all that really matters is manifestation. Yeah. Nothing else matters. You're talking, it's in the process, it's in the queue, I have an idea. Nope, none of that matters.
Yeah.
All that matters is manifest something and then show that case study to manifest it again.
Isn't that amazing how what I've noticed that you've done is you put the thought over the physical. Because for you, as soon as the thought's done, the physical is just it's a minority sub important thing. You're like, I already decided, it's done. Everything else is like shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you and I both have very spiritual backgrounds. What I love about the group that we're in, the $1 Million Sellers group, it's one of our networking groups, is the vast majority of people have a spiritual background and belief system. And all that really means is they're putting thought and consciousness over the physical.
Yes.
And it means that they're working on themselves because we are the problem. Like, I am the problem. If something is not happening right in the company, I am the problem. But I am the problem because I haven't resolved my fears, my traumas, my issues, which then trickle down into the business. So I love that you said that. It's so valuable.
Agreed.
Like, what you're saying, David, really resonates with me. I did not know this about you before we had this conversation. And a lot of like what me and my wife do is exactly what you're talking about. And it's not just with work either. It's with all aspects of our life, family, where we want to go for like a trip or experience, things like that. But to get to that level, to me, because we're kind of talking, you're kind of talking about it sort of like you're at that level. You went from where you were before to now. How do people get there? Like, what are your suggestions on somebody who's like listening to this is like, yeah, I get it, guys, but I still only have 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours in a day to get this stuff done, right? And they just can't make room for this. Fine. How do you begin your journey of mindset, intentions, you know, these things you're talking about, start making mental space to be more effective?
Yeah. So I was just telling you before we started recording that I gave this seminar. It's called Prosperity Mastery. So it's three parts. It's on my website, davidghiyam.com. And all my classes there, all the proceeds go to charity. And so I gave this 3-week seminar where I talked about how we built Mary Ruth's, both practically and spiritually. And one of the concepts I talk about is this idea that you have to push things through within 24 hours. So when you want to manifest something, you have to ask yourself, how do I manifest it within 24 hours? And why that's important is when you put intense energy to move something forward with all your power, all your prayer, all your consciousness, like all the way through, you manifest something. And what manifestation does is it opens the gate for the next thing to manifest. What a lot of people do is they try to predict 20 steps ahead what can or should happen. All right, well, Once I make the product, well, where am I going to promote it? And then what am I going to do then with it? And then what's going to happen here with the money? And where is the money going to come from? All these thoughts are doubts, and they're coming from the negative side. You need to say, let me just go create the product. Just go create it. Don't worry about what happens after that. Once you create the product, then try to sell it to 3 people. Just get 3 people to use the product. No, but I want 100 people. Don't worry about 100 people. We'll get to 100 people. Just get 3 people. Prove the model. Manifest the model on a very small scale. Whenever people show me decks to raise money, which we get all the time, all I'm looking for is, did you already prove the model? Are you cash flow positive? Because once you prove it on a very small scale, I don't care if it's like so small, then I know you as a founder have the ability to be profitable. Even if your profit is $10 a month, I know you can be profitable.
Yep.
That means that your soul karmically attracts profit. Now let's scale it. But a lot is said about people who stay in the queue, stay in the lobby, stay in the waiting zone, stay in the middle.
The details.
Very important. I'm sorry?
The details.
They get stuck in the details. Just come out. They sit there tweaking the logo for 6 months, buying pens and hats. Just push it through, and then correct it as something will be revealed after you manifest.
Amazing. Speed.
David just gave us the title for this webinar podcast, and it's called Scaling Your Karma. Because I love it, man. That's great. It's really great stuff. A lot of what I'm taking personal notes as I'm kind of writing this stuff down, because there are a lot of things that, like, it's honestly, we've got a lot going on in our lives, and I've kind of like throttled down on meditation and doing my daily routines of like writing daily intentions and those things. And now I'm like hearing like your perspective and nuance on this, but applied to this kind of like entrepreneurial brand building kind of environment. And it's illuminating. So thanks.
I'll share with you the second concept. I appreciate it. I shared with you the second concept I shared in the Prosperity Mastery, which was this whole idea that in order for something to manifest, you have to overwhelm the system. You have to overwhelm the system. So what does that mean? Like when we need to hire someone for a role, like an important role, I don't just say, all right, HR, go figure it out. I will personally write 50 messages to 50 of the top people on LinkedIn and I'll personalize each one, and I'll do it within an hour, because I want to overwhelm the system energetically in order to create a manifestation. If you want to break through a rock, you just kind of tap at the rock 1,000,000 times, nothing's going to happen. You have to overwhelm it with strength and force. Another idea is, for example, I knew there's a product I wanted to create, but there was an ingredient that doesn't exist anywhere in this world. I said to myself, in order to manifest this product, I need to find this ingredient, but everyone told me the ingredient didn't exist. I said, okay, in order to figure this out, I need to overwhelm the system. I signed up for every ingredient expo in the world. I went one by one. I went to every booth. I said, do you have this ingredient? Do you know how to do this? One by one. I mean, I can't even tell you. I talked to everybody. I talked to booths that don't even sell ingredients. I said, I'm looking for this. And then one booth said, we're not allowed to talk about it, but we're actually working on this ingredient. And then I said, all right, let's get your CEO on the phone right now. I got the CEO on the phone. I said, look, you don't know me, but I'm pushing it through. Like, eventually this led to that, which led to this, which led to 100 other things. And eventually the ingredient surfaced. But if I had just said, all right, well, everyone told me it doesn't exist, so I guess it doesn't exist, I know I have to suffocate the system. That's really what it is. You have to squeeze it from every direction. Even if you think it's a waste of time, you must attack it. It's also why I haven't started more than one business. There's so many great business ideas. So many people are like, let's do this. Here's more money. Here's be on a board seat, whatever. And oh my God, like so many great opportunities I would love to do. But I know that if I don't suffocate something with my energy, I cannot guarantee its success. But if you do suffocate it, even if you choose the wrong path, you will eventually be led to the right path.
Amazing stuff, man. So I want to I got to talk about advertising for a little bit, David, because
Mhm.
you guys are very, very good at marketing. You probably don't walk around saying I'm a great marketer, because I just don't see you as the type. But everyone around you who knows the business is like, man, Mary Ruth is freaking everywhere. And that's what good marketing is. It's everywhere. So where do you put your focus in the marketing team? Like, do you tell your marketing team, like, all right, you 3 are going to do influencers, you 5 are on Google, you're focusing on DTC, you focus on Meta, you focus on TikTok? Is it that widespread? Is there a method to this madness of you guys being everywhere? How do you do it?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. You know, it's funny because when we were doing 150, 60 million in revenue, all my friends who are very good at what they do, they're all 100 million plus brand owners. I have a group of 9 of them. They looked at my content and they said, David, this stuff is shit. You are a horrible marketer. Your Facebook ads, this is horrible. I said, what do you mean? They said, and I remember one of them said, if I came into your company right now as your CMO, I would make you into $1 billion of revenue, like in 2 years.
Wow.
And that really hit me painfully. Now the brand was doing well because the products were good and the branding was good and the energy was good, right? There's an energy behind the Mary Ruth product. We've had people try to duplicate our products and duplicate the brand, and it never. There's some kind of energy. I'm not saying it's me. I'm not even saying it's Mary Ruth. It's some kind of collective energy that I think is really positive.
There's a halo around it for sure.
There's a halo. There's a halo. So I think the brand grew because of the halo, and because of consciousness. But the marketing was so bad. It was just so simple. It was like static images of like, hey, go buy these vitamins. Like nothing good. And when it all kind of elevated, I don't even think it's perfect yet, but when it all elevated was when I chose to spend time with people who were doing it right. And I basically asked these guys and girls, hey, show me what you do. Let's go one by one. Show me the guts. I will do anything to understand, to learn. And they helped me open up my consciousness about what good marketing is. Because I know Amazon. I don't know Facebook. I don't know this stuff. I still don't know how to run Facebook ads. But being around people who know how to do it well, it inspired me to then kind of build out the team in a certain way and kind of have a certain philosophy. But if you really want to know like when it happened,
yeah,
it broke through, I think maybe like 9 months ago, because this is kind of what we teach in my spiritual path in Kabbalah. It's like, I really want it. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I said the brand needs to grow double by next year because I saw all the VMS brands kind of stagnant or declining. And I'm like, I don't want to get sucked into this black hole. What do I do? And I started to really pray and talk out loud. And I say, well, I need inspiration. Like, where's this going to come from? How is this going to happen? And what happened was an organic content creator posted something that ended up getting around 50 million views. And I said,
what platform was it?
It was on TikTok.
Okay, cool.
And it just blew up sales. But I went to the team and I said, this woman is showing us what our marketing needs to look like. So the team immediately started to adapt what was revealed to us and scale it. And that's how we built it. And the second thing is we just fired all the agencies.
Yeah.
All the agencies are also bringing in their karma and their negative consciousness and their limitations and whatnot. It's not enough for a brand of our size.
Yep.
And what we did is we just said, what is authentic to us? We started to listen to our consumer. We started to do focus groups. I said, I'll give $100 to any customer who wants to come on a Zoom and tell me what you like about it, what you don't like about it. I started to talk to them. They said what appeals to them. And I've seen people try to duplicate our marketing and it's also failed. And I've duplicated other people's marketing and it's failed. I saw my friend do a car giveaway. Like he gave away this huge truck and he crushed it. He crushed it with the giveaway. I did it. I gave away a Tesla. I fell flat on my face. I said, I got to stop trying to copy people.
Because it's not you. It's not your brand.
It's not you and your consumer feels it.
Yeah.
Like if you have a brand owner out there, I'm telling you right now, you built this, you're successful because you know your consumer. No one's going to know your consumer better than you. Don't copy me. Don't copy the other guy. Be inspired by the energy of these other companies, but sit down and try to understand who is buying your stuff. Is it a male? Is it a female? What's the age? What are they missing? What's their pain point? What's their culture? What's their religion? What's their salary? What's their income? And create the marketing that appeals to them, and then drive down that lane hard. Super, 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 super hard. And the viral effect comes when you break out of the velocity, like when you break away from gravity and you achieve escape velocity. There's a moment where we started to spend so much money and we weren't getting the return. And the solution was spend even more. Go deep, go into it, go into the guts of it. Of course, have good content, tweak it along the way. But that's what also helped us create the virality. It was a mix of all those things.
He reminds me a lot of episode 1, Drew, Justin Madahi. Do you know Justin?
Justin who?
Justin Madahi.
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
What's the brand?
You guys need to be homies and you guys need to hang out. He needs to be your next walk. Okay. Justin is in Beverly Hills as well. He's in LA.
Okay.
And he owns a brand called Lumino.
Yeah.
Teeth white. Yeah.
Yeah. Heard of them. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to meet him.
It would be a great conversation. But the reason I bring him up is they had an accidental situation as well. He told us the story. They had this girl with purple hair that was just went out and said, I love this teeth whitening. And all of a sudden his BSR went bananas and he's like, what happened? You know, you wake up that morning, you're like, what's happened? You don't even know, right? And he's like you. He's doubled, tripled, quadrupled. I don't know how, he's literally put everything down on repeating that organic, trying to scale something that's organic, which is hard. And he's finally figured out what's that amount that he has to do to hit that critical mass. Same story. And it's amazing that it's worked for both brands.
I love that. I love that.
Go ahead, David.
Go ahead, Drew.
I'm just going to add into it. So yeah, I think you really should connect with them because the common thread, you guys are using different language to describe this, but Justin really kind of, takes to heart this concept around how you describe manifestation and like going hard after something.
Right.
Once he identified he had a need to like leverage influencer marketing. I mean, if you hear the podcast, he kind of is like, well, I'm not really sure if influencer marketing is going to work. And yeah, he inherently knew it was going to work. And then he went after it and he took a while, found the formula. Once he found the formula, I want to say rinse and repeat, but Justin makes it pretty clear. It's not really rinse and repeat. It was like, cool, we've got this. Keep going harder, keep going harder, keep going harder.
Because basically what you're saying is when you find something that wins, the concept of letting winners ride, you gotta push on your winners strong. And I think what else you just said that was so beautiful was do not copy. As soon as you copy, don't try to do it just because someone else is doing it. Gather inspiration and tailor it to something that is your own energy that really adds value, because then the consumer will market for you. If you're just trying to sell it to the consumer, you're going to hit a plateau, but you want the consumer to market it for you. And they're going to feel if you really created this for them or you created it for you.
Wow. I guess that's why multi-level marketing did have its thing, right? We all know the histories of multi-level marketing, but I think the reason why it did have its thing is it's influencer marketing. That's kind of influencer marketing before influencer marketing. It was like, 100%. Joe, you need to try this.
100%. But as soon as you try to screw the people and there's a consciousness of trying to just take money from them, the whole MLM collapses. This is why the MLMs don't get high multiples. They don't get high multiples because they could be at 800 million one year and like 50 million the year after. Because as soon as one of them collapses or someone leaves and takes everybody with them, the revenue is gone.
And with your brand, you don't have any of that. It's truly great products with consumers who rave about your products. It's genuine. It's what they were trying to sell in a bottle and they just couldn't do. So, oh my God, I have a million questions, but let me see. We got a little time left. We can keep going. If you have time, David.
I got 7 more minutes.
Oh, that's plenty time. Multi-channel marketing. Here's another area. You got Whole Foods. I know you're in a million different grocery stores. you got Amazon, direct to consumer. How do you pick the focus, or is it really just all systems go on everything?
So I didn't know until we hired someone who was really good at this. And I just asked him to teach me and educate me on the strategy of growing Whole Foods. And when we brought in investors, I think about a year and a half ago, one of the things that we looked for in an investor wasn't just the money. It was, are these people going to be incredible mentors? I got to know them, got to know their wives, got to know their family, got to know them behind the scenes. And I can say, like, we have incredible partners who are constantly teaching me. And a big area I had to learn a lot was retail, because we did it wrong in the beginning. And now, I feel we're doing it right. It's the fastest growing segment of our brand. I think we'll do close to 40 million this year in retail. And last year, I think we did 10. But what I realized works in retail is, do not be everywhere all at once. You got to pick one lane, master that lane. In our case, it was Whole Foods. We went deep with Whole Foods. We made them our beloved partner. And we gave them everything. We gave them innovation. We gave them exclusivity. We thought about them. What do they need? What does the Whole Food shopper need? We went up and down the aisles. We did our research. Instead of just being and we said no to other retailers in the beginning. We said, no, we're going to go deep. And then when we prove out the success here, we'll come to you. So we were very patient in the beginning. And I think we have almost like 100 products in Whole Foods now. And it was unheard of. There's no other brand that has that many SKUs. But it allowed us to really prove out a model that works, that now other retailers are looking at, saying, well, how do we get just a part of that or a piece of that? We started in the natural section. We've said no to like mass, food, drug, and mass in a big way, because once your product is everywhere, your velocity drops everywhere. And then everyone's unhappy. So
what do you mean by like every location, or what do you mean by everywhere?
So there's a brand, I don't want to call them out by name, but they're a big vitamin brand, and they grew massively, like almost to like $1 billion of revenue in just a few years. Some of you might know which one I'm talking about. And now they've dropped back down to like 200 million. Like in 1 year they just tanked. But one of the reasons was they started to get into retail, and then the few retailers they were crushing, and the retailers like, we love you. So then there was a little bit of greed. They said, well, let's go everywhere. And then they were in gas stations, and they were in every supermarket and everywhere. So what happens is the consumer now can get it anywhere. So instead of going to Target and increasing the sales there, they're like, oh, I'll just get it at my local gas station. Oh, I'll just get it here. I'll just get it there. So Target sales tanked, Kroger sales tanked, Walmart sales tanked, and then everyone's upset, saying, all right, get out of my store. So what happened was they grew the retail presence before they truly grew the demand for the brand. And it diluted the sales across all channels. So now nobody was happy. So you want to create kind of a choke point to force people, like, our products are continuously out of stock on our website and Amazon. Like, I don't like that. But one of the benefits of that is people are calling Whole Foods and saying, when is the next shipment coming in? And can you save me 4 bottles? Don't touch it. Call me as soon as it comes.
Wow.
Retailers love that, obviously, because we're sending people to their stores. And because we make everything in small batches and we don't mass produce, it constantly creates these choke points, which I know I'm losing a lot of sales from it. But at the same time, I think it's creating a scarcity that is probably good for retailers.
You're keeping your retailers healthy. Is the whole point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you people just think go out there. No, you do not just go out there. Be successful in one place, and then in 2 places, and in 3 places. Slow and steady is going to win this race. People who try to scale too fast, too hard, and we grew by double this year, and it broke our supply chain. It broke everything, and we're still picking up the pieces. There's just a big value in growing. What my investors told me, as long as you can grow 20% a year, top and bottom line, and have 20% EBITDA margins, like, you are king. You are king. Don't try to be all fancy. 20% growth, 20% EBITDA margins, you are king. If you can grow a little bit more and keep the EBITDA margins, even better.
Wow.
And the other final thing I'll tell you is, if you're looking to exit your company, years before we exited, I sat with 3, 4, 5, maybe more investment bankers. And I said, make a list for me of everything I need to do to my company today to have the greatest multiple. Like when we did our investment round, we had like a 26x, which is very high for a VMS brand. I mean, great brands go for like 10 to 15. 26 times multiple. And the reason I believe was because years before, I asked all the bankers, what does a PE firm or a strategic want to see in the health of a brand to be able to have a high multiple? And they gave me a list. Multi-channel, obviously growth, top and bottom, profitability. Those are easy ones. What about community? That was a big one. What about social presence? They said improvement in gross margin. Every year, improve the gross margin just a little bit more. Not too much, not too little. Don't go backwards. Show everything moving in a healthy direction. So I said, all right, well, what do I got to do to improve gross margin? All right, COGS, cash flow. Show you have cash flow. Show health throughout the brand. So one by one, we worked on how do we make this one healthy, that one healthy. We started to invest in each part of the brand to try to maximize the outcome. So I would tell everybody here, start talking to bankers, brand owners. What does it take to maximize my valuation? And I would start implementing those things at least 1 to 2 years in advance.
Brilliant. Just in time, David.
Yeah, David, that was really great. Thanks a lot. I know you're
Thanks,
at time, but yeah, this is really good.
I'm almost speechless. I think when I drop this, I'm just going to say, if you don't listen to this or watch this, you're going to fail in life. That's my way.
Thank you. That's very flattering.
With a little mic drop. Thanks a lot, David.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time.
Person, I'm going to manifest seeing you in person, and you will be there.
AMZ Innovate, David, if you get a chance.
I told Jared to invite me. I didn't get an invite. Tell this. I think he was upset because last time I came, everyone started asking about Kabbalah, and he's like, "No."
I know you kind of crashed the party last time. I think you did.
I think he was upset with me. I said, "Jared, you want me to talk about this? What did you want me to do?"
Well, you got an invite from me, man. So I hope to see you there.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
All right, you too, buddy. It was great.